So we have one more example of a trig equation here. This one doesn't have a multiple angle, but we are dealing here with a 12 sine squared theta minus 3. So we do have the trig function being raised to a power. So here we want to first solve. We've got to first get the equation in the form trig function equals some number, equals some answer. So the first step is let's get that sine squared by itself. So bring the 3 over to the other side and then divide by 12. So we'll get sine squared theta equals 3 over 12, which would become 1/4. Now remember here, we want to solve this equation by getting rid of the sine squared. Remember, that's quantity sine squared. So what we can do here is apply the square root to both sides. Now, square root of sine squared, you have to remember, is actually absolute value. But we can drop that absolute value and just move the plus or minus to the other side. So it's really absolute value, which is going to bring in a plus or minus. Square root of 1/4 then would be 1/2. And so we have sine theta equals plus or minus 1/2. Sine theta equals plus or minus 1/2. Okay, and from here, we can now again find our reference angle. What angle in the first quadrant will give us a sine of positive 1/2? And that reference angle would be pi over 6. And then once again, we're going to draw in our axes. And now we're going to put that reference angle into every quadrant where sine is positive or negative, right, because of the plus or minus here. So that means we're actually going to have that angle going into all 4 quadrants. First, second, third, and fourth quadrants. And now once it's in there, we use our reference angle. To figure out the angle. So in the first quadrant, it's just going to be just that, pi over 6. And then in the second quadrant, that would be pi over 6 short of pi, which would make it 5/6 pi. In the third quadrant, it'll be pi over 6 past pi, which will make it 7 pi over 6. And lastly, it will be pi over 6 short of 2 pi, which would give us our final answer here, 11 pi over 6. So now we have one more example here of a trigonometric equation. This time, because of having to do the square root, we've got a plus or minus, which is actually what leads us to 4 different answers. 4 different answers. Okay, hopefully this will help you as you work through and solve these trig equations, which are things that come up from time to time in some of our applications of calculus.